I'm starting like a minute early. So, what I worked on last time was a variation on this sort of flat mechanism that goes down and the sort of pieces fall into place as opposed to having everything uh, fold out, because with gravity you can have a nice little force forward, and worked okay. Some issues, as there are going to be, so I made some adjustments and I'm going to try assembling the adjusted version today and see what happens. So this one's cut out. Main issues that I had, I needed the slot areas, like the places where these little flaps go down. I wanted that to be a little bit larger, and with that, things like that can happen. This, I don't know if you saw that, but one of these just sort of fell off because they're held in place sort of sequentially, and if I can solve it for like the final bit, then it'll solve some of that problem by having the front and the back end have a locked in place thing. But I also wanted to try out having a little sort of like part where it catches. So I switched some things up a little bit, and I'm just going to see how this sort of holds on with its current iteration that has a little bit more of a gap. Does alright. It still hooks on its own self. It might just be a matter of sort of using it a little bit more, but it can fall pretty easily, and it'll fold back up better once there's something blocking it and not giving it a thing to catch on. So let's just assemble this as a whole deal. And for that, I'm just going to take all these pieces off. Not 100% sure that this is best for like animation thing that I had initially wanted, using this as a like foldable zoetrope, because once this spins it'll have a different behavior about it, but we'll see where everything's at. Okay, those pieces are off. I want to see how this sort of feels in sequence. I don't even need that little thing. Or I need to tighten this up. Make it larger. Make that gap smaller. Figuring things out. You know, I'm gonna tape assemble this stuff first. Okay, it barely needs it. Yeah, it does need that little bit. Okay. This can't come off directly here, but when you slide it up, then you can slide it off, which is the purpose of those little those little those little slits, spots, whatever you want to call them. Go ahead and date this. I don't want to deal with doing a Coptic stitch on all this stuff right this moment, so I'm just taping things together. Pages are 1 inch tall, and this tape is supposedly like half an inch, but it's slightly thinner than that, which is good for me because it's easier having a little bit of Okay, now assemble it. It's a little learning curve for me to see how much leeway I need. Whether or not these like little latches and spots that I built with the intent of it, like holding things in place if it's gonna hold stuff out of place. Keep things in places that I don't want them. We'll find out. This might be too wide. could be that this backside is thinner. And that makes a lot of sense. Or at least the sliding mechanism. This feels and looks like a bunch of bread tabs. This works, kind of. Let me think about this. Piece of paper. Okay. Where I'm running into some issue is when one tab is folding down, there's this overhanging section that's whatever, but it's more on the other side, the overhanging section of the tab that's pushing up, which is stopping these. It's like trying to, there's too much tension. So I have this pushing this up where I want this pushing down. So a possible solution is something that I was considering is having the sort of fulcrum, the section that's meant to stay in place and fold down, having that instead of being a hole that goes around the page, having it be a like small post of sorts that goes through the page. So I have this little tab that goes through here. That could either be, it's basically inverting the thing, but having it so it's small enough, and then on the section that's trying to push down, have it just have a gap that goes around that. So that when I have any kind of have it be like this and then a wider section. So this, let me And so that it's, let's see what can see best. There's a slit that goes through here, and that holds in place more or less. Maybe that has like a small little thing that it's meant to latch onto. And then on the other side, let's thin this out. The piece that's trying to, I gotta shorten this. This is getting more complicated sort of quickly, but I want this to be that it's complicated to sort of like a symbol, but not complicated to work with. I watched something about RCA tried to make a home video player at some point, and they went a different route. They were trying to make something that was like pretty simple reading mechanism but complex production mechanism, so that there's like this thing that they have ownership of, but the players are really easy to manufacture, which was the opposite of what you had with VCRs. And so I'm trying to make something that might be difficult to assemble. It's not exactly what the best euphemism would have been, but something that is mostly difficult on my end. But if I were to make this and hand it to somebody, they would have an easy time of it. They would just open it and it would work. So this is the idea. That where these are meeting, there's a gap there where this is able to move freely. So how does that look for what I'm trying to make? So I need to change what this page is, where it still needs to have this sliding section. So I need sort of like a bump 3 stages, where on this little tab, instead of having a gap, it goes down like this, and maybe has like a little latch, something like this, so that it settles into place. And then on this end, it has a gap that is this high, and it only latches on either side. It's not a closed loop like before. This latches like this, but I need a gap where actually it's got to go in this direction. It can be a closed bit. The gap has to be over this way. And otherwise I think it is pretty much the same. Have the latch on here, not on the page itself. This stays like this, and then there's a gap where this little guy comes through. And for the other section going in this direction, it loops here, and then there's a gap for that guy. Okay. Got the adjustment. I'm going to try to do the drawing of it all, which will be in a digital space, so it will be free moving. There's a little less structural integrity. Let's see how it goes. Put that back, and let's come to the Firefox thing and open up Bookfold down to, yeah. That's here. Okay, so change in mechanism. Page stays pretty similar, but which is that rectangle can stay the same. Come here and are these getting off? Because let me page width 2.3. Flap center is the overlap for that. Do I have an extra thing in here? No. I'm just trying to figure out why this is. If when this is in place, it's gonna push no matter what. Okay, let me design this thing quick. We are going to switch this rectangle by just shifting all of these over and have this guy come up here and be a Boolean difference. And take these three and shift them over a little bit. Paper thickness times 0.5. This guy, no paper thickness on there. And this one is paper thickness just on its own. So now there's a slit here. How wide is this guy? Paper thickness. Okay. And now I need to come to flap and redesign this to where let's get rid of change how I'm talking, figuring things out. Let me just make a new component. This is going to be flap02. So flap02 needs a rectangle, and that rectangle needs to be flap center as the width, center, and the height is page height. Let's give this a fill, and that is the active area of the flap. So I have this. Now I need a tiny little tab. You know what? Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it as a rectangle. Okay. What is the height of this guy? Flap split latch height. We're gonna take this and divide it by okay. let's just flap slit latch height minus flap slit gap, flap 2. That's going to be the height on this. So this is 0. And then give that a fill as well. The X position is flap center divided by 2. How long should this be? Not too long. Let's just make it flap center divided by 4. You know what? Pivot flap width. I'm gonna have that as that value so that I can make changes with it. Position is that plus pivot flap width divided by 2. And this is pivot flap width. Okay, so that's that. That is the exact size that it needs to be. So let's actually then add paper thickness and add another rectangle, and this is going to be let's make this 0 for right now. Or wait, no. Flap center divided by 2 plus paper thickness divided by 2. This width will be paper thickness, and this location is 0, and this height is pivot flap width. Oh no. What is this height? Flap minus paper thickness times 2. And give that a fill. And now let's add a rectangle that on this flap, what is this overall? What is this rectangle? Flap width. What does flap width equal? Flap overlap. This scale is flap overlap. Page height. And position is flap center divided by 2 minus flap overlap divided by 2. And this is 0. And I'm going to give that a fill. And one more rectangle. Can I just copy this guy? And this needs to be location-wise minus that. And these are a union, while this is a difference. And let's also add a round corners. This radius is rounded corner. Pivot point, I'm going to make this actually the height is times 4. No, times 2. It should work fine. Let's flap width. Okay, yeah. Slight variation, but this should work. Let's come here. Oh, I need to add crucial element. I need another. What is this? Is pivot tab. Pivot point. Copy and yep. Why am I not? I don't know why I'm not being able to copy and paste that guy. Copy. Paste. Okay. I need a rectangle that's going to be in this section, and this needs to be the width is pivot flap width plus paper thickness times 3 times 2. Let me see what sort of clearance that has. That's pretty tight. Let's make it times 3. And then the height is, how tall is this guy? Pivot tab is flap slit latch height minus flap slit gap. Plus paper thickness times 3. that too much clearance? Is that not enough clearance? Let's make it 2.5. 2.5. More concerned about this direction, so let's make it 3. Okay, now location of this guy is negative flap center divided by 2. Let's make a new parameter so that I don't have to rename this 4 times. Okay, this is pivot gap width, and this is that variable that I just got. Pivot gap width, and I shouldn't have to mess with anything more, but I'm going to still copy this and make a new variable that's pivot gap height. Flap center divided by 2 plus pivot gap width divided by 2. This is an interesting structure, but I don't think that I'm really... This isn't practical for what I'm getting at. So, pivot flap width. Let's make it 0.25. Okay, let's get this as small as makes sense. And let's duplicate this component. Come over here. Flap 2. Delete that. What is... Okay, the page shifted. I do not need paper thickness. But I do need this to modify linear repeat, and this is just 2. This is flap center plus paper thickness plus pivot flap width plus slit. What is the gap one? Oh, flap overlap. How thick do I need that flap overlap to be? I don't think it needs to be that large. Where is flap, overlap? Oh, slit width times. I just make it 2. Everything gets a little bit shorter with that. That's whatever. What is... All these are related. Okay, I think it's okay to try this out. I'm going to turn off the circle because I don't need to be dealing with that right now. And let's export SVG for Cricut. That's not what I want. Copy this. Wait, I don't want just the page. I want the component B. How large is this? Nine. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. Should be good. Okay. Just thinking. So now let's export this for Cricut. Copy this and paste this in here. Open up Cricut. Give it a moment, do a new project, and I get to cut out some more stuff. Attach it, make it 8.5 by 11. Should clear it. bum, 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 bum. While that's doing that, I'm gonna just clean up my cricket mat. The one that's currently not in use. Or one of them. One that's got stuff on it and is not currently being used. So many small little cutouts of paper. This will take a minute to cut out, but I'm excited to see how it functions with stuff and whether or not my math is horrible. Not horrible, but incorrect. So it's cutting out all these little pieces here. And what ideally happens is you have this little flap guy that overlaps, and you can pivot and it clears it. Where with this guy, I sort of was like, it's enough, it'll clear it, but it is always pushing up on previous one because it's trying to fold over and it's using the same pivot point, and so it comes into conflict with the other spot. These guys, I wasn't running it to it as much because I wasn't trying to really flatten it. I just was sort of like, that works enough. I've got other things to consider. This hopefully will help with these little like latching moments that happen, but it might be worse in a different way. I don't know, this seems like these are too long, but I think it's just that it's not hooking in the way that I intended. Because if these push like this and push like this, and the tension, oh yeah, when these are pulled, they just pull apart. They don't pull in a direction. That was bad. I messed up on this. This adds like an extra, I don't know, 1/8 inch for every single one of these, so the total length is completely off. But it folds decently. Which is something that is nice. But still pretty imperfect. Where does it say this is at cut-wise? It's mostly done. Should be done in just a moment. Let me clear more stuff off my workspace. Almost back to an assembly point. Where is the actual... Oh, that's where the actual gap is at. somewhere I just set, or maybe I just trashed it. Whatever. Don't need it. Okay. That's done. I'm gonna grab it. Let's see how this looks and feels. Just on a... I didn't mirror it. Yeah. Okay. Page. Modify. Mirror repeat. I just blanked on that. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to do this as a pretend thing. See how it functions from a single point. Okay, automatically that needs more. That is like exact. But is there a way for me to intersect this and have it hold in place a little bit more? Sort of the opposite of what this is. Really catch that. Yep. No. Okay. This be that slides up here and then goes in place. Something that is like the issue I'm coming across is that this just falls out. I thought it might be tight enough to just hold in place. It could be that it has like a folding element, but I really want it to be flat if I can do it. So let's consider if this is the hole and I want it to latch in place, have a little bit of something similar, goes up and over and then rests here. that no matter what, it's not going to fall out like that. So just a similar mechanism. Bum 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 bum. Like this. So when I come in here, this rectangle is, what's the height on this? Flap slit, latch height, and that's the same for it doesn't even, it could just be up top. It doesn't even have to be on both ends, but it means that that gap has to be a reflection of that as well. Can I not just make one that is pivot tab this height the exact same? Okay, so I'm not losing any material. This could be slightly larger, but then that's just friction holding it in place. This is very small. Let's make the paper thickness. I think that this could deal with being like half that bit. If I'm getting that much, like whatever, a little bit of clearance, let's add a little guy. Let's make paper thickness a little bit thinner maybe. Where's that variable? Paper thickness. Pull it down to 0.3. I was hoping it would latch more when inserted into this little bit. It stays in place, but it doesn't. Let's try making it a little bit taller. What is this guy? Pivot gap height is 2.5. This might give me enough clearance. Let me... The idea is that no, that's going to be too tall. If it's just that much taller, it's not solving my problem. me try just having this be the height of it. Just have it go up a tiny bit. So this is pivot height. Okay. Slight variations on this. Not terribly different, but making a few changes on it. Let's see how this goes. Okay, we're gonna cut this one out. Upload a new file. Now let's make this is continue. Select the cardstock. And another attempt. Okay. Oh, is that over? I'm gonna see if I get flagged copyright stuff for playing this tape. And if I do, then I won't play it again. This is a Spanish language tape that I think that the company still exists, so...
Lesson 98. To ask versus to ask for.
Lección 98.
But it has music that I taped over it.
I always ask for a good translation.
It's got these long
Yo
gaps.
siempre pido una buena traducción.
And then, now we'll get into it. I like having interesting, or odds and ends of tapes to record over. And with that, I don't have to think about song titles in the same way. I can just be like, that's what it is. Okay, so I don't know how clear it shows up here. Let's get a darker background. And let me see how this looks on camera. Okay, so you can see how these are structured. This guy has these little tabs that are meant to be where it catches when it's inserted here. However, it falls out super easy. So I need this to be wider on the opposite side, but then there's no way to put the thing in place. So what I'm attempting to do now is sort of have it so I made this longer on the top edge so that it could be inserted at an angle, come in, and then there's something that catches. It's not just a little bit of tension. Anyway, let's see how it goes. The outside section, and let's see how this holds or doesn't hold. The other thing that I forgot was I didn't put slits on either side. If I force it, it goes in place. It's got a little bit of a push to it. There's a couple things I could do for that. I could make it so there's more or less of something, but holds a lot better. Than the previous iteration. So, let's assemble it. Set previous stuff to a side, because it is visually very similar. What might work better is if I
Perfecto.
round
not sung
this
at party.
tab a little bit.
Yo no he cantado en la fiesta.
Another option would be creating some sort of cut into this that's at an angle. But for now, let me tape all these together. Score line's real off. Don't know what happened there. My ideal outcome for the book is something that could. It started off as trying to make a zoetrope. I'm not sure if it will. This is me now focused on the structural elements more so than the actual application. Zoetrope is an old animation tool that you spin and you can look through it. This is getting more complex as I'm going along as far as the mechanisms are concerned, so I'm getting a little bit lost in the woods, if I'm being honest, for like practical application of what the initial concept was, but now I'm sort of like struck in problem solving territory where I had an idea, it kind of worked, and I'm trying to make elements of that initial idea work as I want them to, but it's a different set of problems that I've gotten into. It works okay. The initial concept worked fine, but it doesn't feel great, and I want it to feel great. So just continuing on with stuff. But like, here's sort of an earlier version of it where pages fold out and you latch each one in. But it's annoying to deal with, but it functions. And it was going to be that like you have this stencil and the stencil folds down and you can spray or otherwise transfer that image to a background. Then when it's in a circle, you can spin it and look through the stencils themselves, and because you need something that breaks apart the imagery in a zoetrope type deal, and then
He
you'd
has
be able to
confused
see it.
one girl with the
But
other.
I'm not sure how well that functions
Él
once I
ha
get into this
confundido a una
deal, but I
muchacha
wanted
con
to
la otra.
solve how to have it form a circle when you open. And so that's the state of things that I'm in now, is solving a completely different problem, which sometimes happens for me in the course of working on anything. Ideal outcome, interesting book structure that feels interesting to work with and play with. And it's getting a little bit away from what the initial iteration was, but I still like stuff about it. There's so many just cutouts everywhere. I need to do some recycling. Okay, let me date this as well. And I'm going to do this is just come into every page and sort of insert this. Yeah, this would be smoother if that was just a little bit more curved. Let me add that to this. Quick Cricket, and where is this? This is this guy. Rectangle. Get rid of this guy. Pivot tab 01. Let's. How should I do this? Because really, I just want a curve going over here. Oh, thanks for saying great work. I just read the what's the goal, and I'm like, I don't really. It's sort of been lost. And then I was like, let me fix this thing, and then I didn't. It's definitely weaker in this location now. I'm forcing this, and I don't like forcing paper. But just to test and see, since the last one had its own issues. I want to get this formatted.
Has been trading with Canada for a long time.
Hace mucho tiempo que los Estados Unidos comercia con el Canadá.
Don't want to drop those tweezers. Interesting format. This is working better. I'm putting a lot of stress on the paper. That opens comparatively. Closes a little bit rough, but it's pretty good still.
They accomplished it 1 week ago.
Hace una semana que ellos lo lograron.
How is this like so off? Do I need something that latches the... Why is this got like a full... I've got another full guy that I can...
Nosotros conversábamos. Hacía horas que nosotros conversábamos.
He had been organizing that program for years.
Hacía años que él organizaba ese programa.
Is this like an extra guy? I think that might be one extra. Let me figure out this math. I might just have like too much overall. So this page, let me just draw a polygon in here. Let me show you what I'm doing. You know what, let's undo this and make a new guy. Polygon. Let's make this polygon have number of sides is page num page. And the scale is I'm not sure how that translates. If it's 16 sides, okay. I wasn't thinking. If it's this number of pages and they're meant to, if they come together for the last one, then it's dividing the circle that many times. But what I actually need is flap center is page width. How am I doing this? If I have 16, it's one off on this. I don't know. Let me pull up a previous one of these.
Plural.
Comed más temprano
My
esta
projects.
noche.
I don't know if this is gonna show up on. Okay.
Comed más temprano esta noche.
Let's eat here.
Comamos aquí.
This guy works, but maybe part of the issue is my core bad math. Okay, let me look at page angle, page number, flap adjustment, single page length, sign, whatever. $360 divided by page number. It's divided by 14. It's divided 14 times. let me just come back here. I'm going to get a rectangle, and the rectangle height is going to be center, and this is just be 0. Alright, 1. Okay, and the position is going to be center spread width, no, page width, okay. And modify rotational repeat, and let's make this, that should be pretty good, right? I think just the physical elements of it. Wait, where's this cutoff spot? Is my flap weird again? If I pull a rectangle in here and I give this a width of why do I keep doing that? I did it again. This overlap flat, pivot point, pivot tab, flap area, slit. This guy
Replace the English words. Formal.
needs to be
Reemplace las palabras inglesas.
just plus. Just some dumb little things, but it adds up. It needs to be that side, not this side. That definitely adds like the full length. Okay, so rectangle, this is what is that variable? Flap slit width. Okay. While I'm here, let me how do I want to do this? I need to add a curve at the bottom of this. And I need that curve to make it so how do I want to add this curve? Let's take this pivot tab and let me pull in a circle, and what I need is this circle to be how tall is this guy? Pivot point is this weird thing. Copy this, make that a circle. Times 2, and I need to take this whole thing and times 2. If that's curving here,
Don't say that. Familiar, plural.
No digáis eso.
wait, no, I don't need it to be that. I need it to be, get rid of the paper thickness offset. I need it to fall right here. Let's change this location to flap center divided by 2 plus paper thickness divided by 2. And what offset do I need with this? Modify, intersect. Modify round corners. Just want that edge a tiny bit rounder. That should work. It should be the math that I need. Just a little catch. I think it should work now. I don't want to cut this out again right this moment. But conceptually that should work. Very small differences make big differences.
La reparación fue tan cara.
Your floor is so clean. Familiar.
Tu piso está tan limpio.
Gap should be just a little bit bigger. Or shift it up. Shift it up. Flap to 2. Come here. This is rectangle 9. Oh. 0. Let's actually make it minus. What is the increase here? paper thickness. Okay. So let's just take this rectangle and make it minus paper thickness divided by 2. Just a little up. And now I'm just going to that clearance is essentially nothing. This should give me a little bit more. All right. Just refining tiny little things here and there. Wait, let me... Okay. Making sure that's doing its deal. Folds real nice.
Este estado tiene tanta
Math
madera
is
como
off, but I got it.
California.
Okay, just talking and figuring out some
Este estado tiene tanta madera como California.
little bits of things.
I don't like plastic as much as wood.
No me gusta el plástico tanto como la madera.
Okay. Let me actually have to come in here to circle guy. And what is this? This could be just a hair taller for pivot flap. Just a tiny bit more overlap. Just a This is all tight.
S.
There's a lot of pressure being
This
put on
t-shirt
those
is less
guys, but
bright than mine.
Esta camiseta es menos alegre que la mía.
these are at heavy risk of getting pulled a bunch. Okay, stuff to consider, and it'll all play differently in a stronger format. But I think that's it for today. So let me come over here and turn this off. So got this structure working. This gets caught here and there. Mostly having like a weak spot. Does fold much easier and smoother. Okay, anyway, that's that. This is this. All of them have their own issues. And that's part of the fun of it all, and the frustrations. These feel okay, this one feels nicer. This one I made mistakes on. This one has a weird thickness, but that thickness exists here as well. It's just different. I don't know if there's a way to make it want to push down. Depends. Anyway, 2 attempts today, learning stuff from it. I changed just a little bit from the last one.
This is my younger brother.
My inclination is to use new paper.
Este es mi hermano menor.
Okay, so I made this taller on one end so that it could sort of slide in into the gap, push up, and then swing in on the bottom, and then they settle into place. The issue with that, just need a little bit of a curve happening here. If I get that curve, then use this as the pivot point. If I have the radius of the gap, like if the gap is, let's say it's 2 units tall, if the radius of this circle that cuts into this is 2 units tall, if that radius is 2 units, then it'll clear because as it rotates, it's using that pivot point. And so that little tiny corner right here overlaps things, and it works poorly. So I changed that in the file so that there's just a little bit of a curve that comes onto here and makes it so when this is inserted here and then rotates in this direction, it'll clear it and then it can settle in because this gap is just a hair smaller than this tab section here is just a hair smaller. So that's what's coming up later. And I fixed an issue where the total circumference, give or take, of the circle divided into 8, let's say. I got that measurement and I was like, cool, here are my 2 here's my pivot point, and here is my cut into the paper. And I was like, this distance is the length of each of these edges. Wrong. That is the wrong distance. What I actually need is this distance. It's a difference of, I don't know, whatever the gap is, which is like, I forget what the measurement is. It's like a 1/16 of an inch or something. It's like 0.125. No, that's an eighth of an inch, right? Yeah, that's an eighth. Anyway, something like that, which when you're just doing one of them, you're like, looks the same, but when you have 16 of something, that like difference of a 1/16 of an inch is a full inch, which is like the full
Son
length of
elegantísimos.
that measurement itself.
Sus
So
sostenes
that's
son
the issue that I came into
elegantísimos.
because I just made a wrong distance. Yeah, I think that's it for today. Made those changes. I'll cut it out and mess with it probably Monday. I have to get my teeth cleaned tomorrow, and I don't know how quickly it'll be done. So, gonna give myself a benefit of the doubt. I don't know if that's the right term. I'm not planning on streaming tomorrow, but if I do, I'll post about it in some way, shape, or form, or it'll just be available on YouTube. And if you're subscribed, you should get a notification like this guy's gone live. If you have those notifications turned on, but it would be at 3, but my appointment's at 1 and it takes a minute to get there and back, so only if it's like precisely on time will I be back for stream tomorrow. So those are the changes, fixing some small measurements. Is there a way that I could... That just adds another layer of things, which could be interesting. This could be doubling up. Talking, thinking, I was like, I could have 2 layers, possibly. That could be something of the format that I wanted to do before, where instead of just having one set of these guys, double it up, and then you have a different pivot point thing coming here and going out, and it's a lot to consider that I won't consider right now. But thanks for watching. Time to promote myself. The tape ended, and I will see whether or not the audio on this tape gets flagged by YouTube, because it's just people saying Spanish and English phrases. But it's a tape that was put into production. Anyway, talking, thinking all over the place. If you want to buy stuff from me, you can go to my web store, traceloops.com/store. If you want to purchase something and have it shipped outside of the U.S., you can email me, traceloops@traceloops.com. You can also email me with comments, concerns, questions, curiosities, commissions, etc., etc. That is traceloops@traceloops.com, TRACELOOPS, TRACELOOPS at traceloops.com. If you want to watch this stream and skip around, or other streams in full, if you watch this one and you're like, how'd you get to this point for your thought process on this book? What changes have been made? You can find all of those available to go through on the live section of my YouTube channel. If you want to follow me on other platforms, you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, Spotify, all of those places. I'm Traceloops, TRACELOOPS. If you want to support me on Patreon, you can do so by going to patreon.com/traceloops, where you will find high-resolution versions of artwork that I create during streams. It's a little bit whatever at this point in time, because these are just sort of structures that I'm testing, so there's not too much, but there's a back catalog of a lot of stuff if you want to see it in high res. At higher tiers, you get new songs from me weekdays, and at the highest tier, you get a monthly postcard from me with original artwork on the front, little message on the back, and a discount to that aforementioned web store. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a good weekend, because it's unlikely that I will be back tomorrow. Adios.